We have a tentative agreement approved unanimously by your elected local council presidents. Flight attendant leaders from across our airline stand behind this agreement after fully reviewing all of the details.
We stand behind this agreement because it's our turn. It's our turn to lead the industry. It's our turn to experience the promise of this merger. It's our turn to enjoy the new flying opportunities made possible with a combined airline. And it's our turn to come to work together, knowing we have built a solid foundation for our future.
The heart and soul of unionism is solidarity. Flight attendants standing together to fight for common objectives. Nowhere is solidarity tested harder than in merger negotiations, where we come into it with different histories and different cultures. But at the end of the day, we are all flight attendants.
We share common objectives of control against arbitrary assignments, solid scheduling with pay protections, and compensation that values us as flight attendants, the faces of United Airlines. This agreement is about standing together and having each other's backs.
We stood up to attempts to divide us and came out with an industry-leading agreement.
The final decision is in your hands. Your vote will determine how we move forward together.
Our new single pay scale, if ratified, will lead the industry. On date of signing, the new pay scale alone will lift pay on average from 25% to 29%. And over the life of the agreement, flight attendants on average will experience an increase of 46% to 49%. This does not include international override or other pay factors. We have been underpaid for our work for far too long. If ratified, our new pay rates will go into effect with the September bid month. These pay factors will also affect every other area of our compensation, such as 401k retirement contributions, profit sharing, vacation value, and all other pay factors associated with our pay rate for each year going forward.
There is a new single base pay scale with base rates topping out in the 13th year at $62 and moving to $67.11 throughout the agreement. For flight attendants who are still moving through the pay scale, remember to include your anniversary raise when looking at the wage chart. Look at date of signing and move down a step for your anniversary raise. Then move over to the next raise at date of signing +1, so you can see where you would be throughout the scale in the contract. The international override is $2 per hour for pairings outside the continental US and Canada. We also have incentive rates paid for every block hour flown in excess of 200 per calendar quarter, to a maximum of 330, including vacation and deadhead. White flag pay is 150% of the pay rates. Purple flag pay is a new concept that designates specific trips at 150% of the pay rates. The pay stays with the trip through any subsequent trades or reassignments. Drafting pay is an additional 3 hours added to the trip. Flight Service Leader, or FISL, formerly International Purser, or ISM, is $7.50 per hour. Purser pay ranges from $1 to $4 depending upon the type of flying and aircraft type, and this is no longer a qualified position. Holiday pay will be paid for 5 holidays, including a flight attendant's birthday. Language qualified pay is $2.50 an hour. Short crew pay is an additional $7.50 per hour paid to each flight attendant for each crew member absent compared to the published staffing guidelines. Domestic per diem is $2.20, international per diem is $2.70, and these rates will increase by 5 cents every 2 years ongoing. Deadhead is full pay and credit with the ability to deviate with pay. Training pay is 3 hours flight time per day, and deadhead to and from training is also paid up to 5 hours each way. Vacation pay is 3 hours and 15 minutes per day. FISL override paid as well. Your vacation accrual is based on your start date with the company. Flight attendants may elect flex vacation to take an additional 7 days unpaid vacation, bid with the rest of the vacation time, and flight attendants may opt to fly through vacation to maximize earnings. Profit sharing is 10% of pre-tax earnings for the previous calendar year and 20% of pre-tax earnings that are in excess of the pre-tax earnings for the previous calendar year. There is no end date to profit sharing. Check ourcontract.org for additional compensation and expenses, hotels, and transportation information.
For our scheduling and legalities, we work to combine the best provisions of all 3 contracts. A merger by definition involves change. There may be provisions in here you may not be familiar with. That's to be expected. These negotiations involve a complicated balancing of interests among our flight attendant group and much hard work getting the company to agree to our priorities. Our tentative agreement combines industry-leading reassignment and restoration of days off rules from the CAL and CMI agreements with the rigs and solid scheduling parameters from the United Agreement to produce one of the strongest scheduling systems in the industry, along with the instant trading system. This was not easy to do. For years, we fought Smisek-era negotiators who sought to impose the worst of all three scheduling systems. We rejected that approach and worked very hard to preserve pay protections and ensure flexibility is in the hands of flight attendants. Each valuable provision we care about in different contracts had to be negotiated to apply across the entire combined group, and each item was hard-won as part of the total cost of improvements in the agreement.
Pay guarantees include rigs of a minimum of 1 hour flight time pay for each 2 hours of duty, a minimum of 5 hours flight time pay for one duty period pairing, a minimum average paying credit of 5 hours per day for pairings with multiple duty periods, a minimum 1 hour flight time pay for each 3 hours and 30 minutes away from home. Line guarantee is now pay protected for the value of your line and trips. No loss of overs or trip value. The minimum line guarantee is 71 hours for line holders. Flight time limitations restrict the company from working line holders over 95 hours and reserves over 100 hours. This should not be read as a cap, because line holders can opt to fly to 100 hours or more than 100 hours, and reserves may opt to be flown to 105 hours or more. It is the flight attendant's choice to opt or not, and this may be done during bidding or at any time during the month. 1 day off in 7 is 1 day off in 7 days. It requires a calendar day off at home on domestic pairings. With international pairings, it requires either a calendar day off at home or 24 hours free from duty while away from base. This legality may be waived at the option of the flight attendant. Minimum days off are 10 for a line holder and 12 for a reserve. Flight attendants have the option to waive below these minimums as long as FARs are observed. Flight attendants may not be scheduled in excess of these domestic duty times. For duty days beginning 1900 to 0459, there can be no more than 7 hours flight time and 2 hours and 30 minutes ground time. Also, if any portion of the flying is between 0200 and 0400, there can be no more than one segment after the red-eye flight. The high-value trips must be a single duty period, with at least 9 hours of flight time and no more than 3 legs. International maximum duty time is based on flight time including deadhead. Domestic legal rest at the home domicile is 12 hours free from duty, which can be reduced to 10 hours for trading and picking up trips at the flight attendant's option. On a layover, domestic minimum legal rest is 10 hours free from duty if the hotel is within 15 minutes of the airport, and 11 hours free from duty if more than 15 minutes away. In all cases, there must be a minimum of 8 hours rest at the hotel, and there can be no contact at layover points for the first 8 hours. International layover minimum legal rest is based on flight time. Remember that these times do not mean all layovers will reflect these minimums. Arrival and departure times simply do not allow for that, and the company typically schedules in buffers to protect against delays or cancellations. International home domicile minimum legal rest is based on flight time and deadhead time in the last duty period. And a reserve is guaranteed 24 hours minimum rest after an international pairing of more than 5 days. The tentative agreement includes trading between flight attendants as soon as lines are awarded for the month. Instant trading with open flying begins on the 23rd of each month for the next bid month. Check the schedule timeline chronology for details. Bad day, worst day trading is permitted. This means trading a trip on a bad reserve coverage day for a trip on a worse reserve coverage day. Reserve coverage is displayed in the computer system in real time. Trades for fewer days, partial trip trades, out-of-base trades, jetway trades, line holder trades with reserves, personal drops, and personal time off are all included in the agreement. Reassignment and restoration of days is based on the current Continental and CMI contract language that leads the industry with strict reassignment timelines, pay protections, pay incentives, and restoration of time off.
While reserve is a reality in the world of aviation, we sought to make it something that would give those on reserve more flexibility, choice, and greater control of earning potential. One of the very last items on the table was reserve days off, and we told the company we would not leave reserves behind in this agreement. The agreement here preserves the 12 days off currently included in the United contract and provides the ability for reserves to choose to pick up more time on days off. Reserve's 78-hour guarantee and $2 override provides greater income than the current 83-hour guarantee with 10 days off in the Continental and CMI contracts. A major company initiative was to include reserve movable days in which the company can assign reserves into days off without penalty. We beat back those attempts for a system which clearly defines the process and provides incentives for flight attendants by offering 5 additional hours of pay on the first day above the guarantee and 200% pay for volunteering or being assigned into the second day off. Improving reserve contractual provisions was a top priority for our JNC and the joint MEC, because reserve is not a junior issue, it's a flight attendant issue.
Reserve guarantee is 78 hours pay and credit with a $2 reserve override per credit hour and 12 days off. A straight reserve system will be used with the exception of Frankfurt, Hong Kong, Honolulu, London, and Narita, which will operate on an AB rotation system. Reserve preferencing will be used to assign trips with detailed parameters for the company to follow, including time of assignment and greater control for reserves to preference the type of flying they want to do. Reserves may not be scheduled to exceed 35 hours in 7 days, unless waived by the flight attendant. 35 and 7 does not apply to international assignments, but does apply to a mix of international and domestic pairings. Reserves can be worked into a day off under strict parameters with pay incentives. There will be at least one block of days designated as set days, and assignments cannot be made into this block. Reserves may be assigned into the first day of other blocks of days off, but first to a volunteering reserve and then in time accrued order. Whether volunteering or not, the reserve will be paid an additional 5 hours of pay and get the day off restored. The same parameters must be followed for assigning into a second day off, and then whether volunteering or not, the reserve is paid 200% for the entire pairing, as well as restoration of the days off. Days off are restored at the end of the block of days off. This process provides a penalty to the company and clear guidelines in an effort to decrease the likelihood of these assignments and to compensate the reserve for the inconvenience. Every attempt will be made to assign a ready reserve at least 3 hours prior to report, and all reserves will be given round-trip assignments. Reserves must attempt to get to the airport for a short call-out, but will not be penalized if assignment is made less than 3 hours to report time. Standby reserves, also known as Airport Alert, will receive 5 hours pay and credit if they do not fly. A standby assignment is for 4 hours, with assignments departing no later than 5 hours after reporting for the assignment, except to avoid drafting. Reserves will also be able to trade trips with line holders and pick up trips on days off to increase their guarantee and pay for the month. When picking up from a line holder, the reserve is treated as a line holder throughout the course of that pairing, including line holder reassignment rules if necessary.
Our benefits, medical, dental, and other insurance comprise one of the core economic components of the agreement. And in total, our benefits are industry-leading. This tentative agreement preserves a separate flight attendant-controlled health insurance plan and provides access to a variety of other options, including build-your-own plans. Flight attendants will continue to have access to HMOs, although the impact of the 80-20 cost-sharing will increase the amount they pay for these plans, with a 4-year phase-in to the same level of contributions that will apply for all the contractually required plans.
The required medical plans include Core Medical PPO, Core Medical EPO, Core Medical High Deductible Health Plan and Health Savings Account, Traditional Medical PPO, and Select Regional Medical Plans. The summary details specifics for flight attendants based in Guam, Hong Kong, Narita, London, and Frankfurt. Additional optional medical plans will be offered by the company, including build-your-own plans. The plans include 80-20 cost-sharing, and HMO cost-sharing will be phased in through 2020. Annual premium increases are capped at 9.25% per year. Plan terms for required medical plans cannot be changed without AFA approval. The dental plan options are the Standard Family Dental PPO, and optional dental plans. Check the summary booklet or ourcontract.org for greater detail and explanation. Also included at the site or in your booklet, you'll find details on sick leave, long-term disability, company-paid life insurance, and group universal life insurance.
Retirement plans accrue a benefit over the course of an entire career. In general, for the whole flight attendant group, changing plans mid-career would interrupt that retirement benefit. For example, for someone who already has 25 years of service, starting in a new defined benefit pension plan would not provide time to accrue a meaningful benefit for retirement at age 65. Our goal in these negotiations was to equalize the benefits of the different flight attendant groups, while the company sought to achieve a common plan for all newly hired flight attendants. We utilized retirement specialists, actuaries, and our benefits committee to review the plans and ensure the benefits paid to flight attendants were equivalent, and we were successful in negotiating that in this tentative agreement. This required substantially increasing the contribution to the IAM NPP for the CMI flight attendants, and an additional 2% contribution to the United Defined Contribution Plan, which many of you refer to as the 401k plan. Management originally wanted the additional 2% contribution to be an employee match, which would require a contribution from the flight attendant as well. We were successful in making this increase a direct contribution from the company, which does not require an additional contribution from flight attendants in order to receive it. It was also critical that we maintain the option of retiree medical for United flight attendants close to retirement, so that anyone who retires within 15 years of ratification will qualify to retire with the retiree medical provisions available through the contract they work under prior to ratification. Going forward, all newly hired flight attendants will take part in the Defined Contribution Plan, or 401k. In addition, we achieved a letter of agreement that requires the company to explore the possibility of establishing a defined benefit pension for the next generation of workers.
I think every flight attendant, regardless of whether you're from CMI, UA, or Continental, should be very, very proud of the commitment and compassion that emanates from each of the members of the JNC representing our combined group. We fought together very, very hard for every single section in this TA. You have to know the company didn't want to give us half of what's in this TA. The company just wanted to take all the good out of each book and rip each contract apart. It was a fight right up until the last minute. We pushed them well beyond what they wanted to give us. I would ask everyone to take a look at the entire book and what's been achieved here with the combination of 2-3 different cultures. So make a decision on what's right for you and your family, and not galley chatter or Facebook chatter. So thank you for your time, thank you for listening.
The duration of the tentative agreement is 5 years with a 1-year early opener. Our scope language ensures work belongs to AFA flight attendants on the United System Seniority List, which protects our jobs. There is also a no furlough letter of agreement for all flight attendants on the System Seniority List at the date of ratification.
This tentative agreement is unlike any other in our careers. There are new terms and new concepts for everyone. We will remain available to answer all of your questions throughout the ratification process to ensure you can cast an informed vote.
We encourage you to review each item in the tentative agreement and consider it on the whole as well. Negotiations occur within the context of what is happening in the industry, the larger economy, and the political climate as well. All of these factors are important as you make your decision for our future.
Flight attendants deserve a joint collective bargaining agreement to obtain all of the benefits of a fully integrated airline, and which reflects our hard work on the front line of United Airlines. Now is the time to move forward. Ask questions, get answers, and cast an informed vote.
And always remember,
we are stronger and better together.